هل لك سر عند الله بينك أنت وبين الله؟ هل لك صدقات تخفى لا يعلمها إلا الله؟ هل لك سر عند الله بينك أنت وبين الله؟ هل لك صدقات تخفى لا يعلمها إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Know Your Charity. My name is Faraz Patel. We are coming to you from our studios at Hilaal TV, channel 347. Now, this is a show where we highlight the various work done by NGOs across South Africa and the work done in the country and outside of its borders. Today, we are looking at Faizan Global Relief Foundation, and we have a panel right here to discuss it with us. Let me welcome my guests. I have Brother Shahid Garda, Brother Haider Kar, and Maulana Abdul Majid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother Shahid, let me start off with you. Talk to us about the inception of Faizani Global Relief Foundation.
Okay, so Faizan Global Relief Foundation is a welfare disaster relief foundation that is under the banner of Dawat Islami International. So this took place in around 2019 when Pakistan faced with thalassemia. So there was a need for blood donations at that time. So Dawat Islami as an Islamic organization saw the need to get the people involved to donate blood towards this project. And from there, with the success of that donation or the blood that was received, or getting the Islamic brothers to donate blood in large numbers, it was seen that there is a need for a disaster relief foundation to grow from Dawat Islami as an Islamic organization. So thus, Dawat Islam Faizan Global Relief Foundation then became a name. We then came into 2020 when we saw COVID happening, and there I would like to hand over to Hafiz Haider, who can enlighten us about 2020 and the works of 2020, inshallah.
Hafiz Haider.
Jazakallah for us for hosting this session and giving us the opportunity to speak to the South African public about FGRF. Like Shahid was saying, FGRF comes from Dawat Islami has a history of community upliftment in work. They just never had the name for welfare. I mean, even when earthquakes hit Pakistan years ago in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you'd see till today on CNN or whatever footage, there's people in green turbans and white kurtas lifting people out of rubble, and there was no name, there was no welfare name to it. So eventually, as the time went on, the welfare name came, and then COVID hit. I think everyone is well aware COVID is a huge mess worldwide. And then what happened was FGRF then established base at main Dawat Islami centers across the world. Because Dawat Islami has a worldwide network. So main centers in each town around the world became like a base for which COVID relief was going on. So example, if you look at Johannesburg, in Soweto, there's a Dawat Islami mosque, and in Fordsburg, which is the main center. What happened was then you had that as a base camp where we almost turned these mosques into warehouses. Because there was not, public salah was not allowed. So these mosques became warehouses, and people were being fed daily, on the back of the masjids. We had a host of oxygen concentrators in the masjids, sanitizers, all these things that were going out. And that was just us in isolation, just FGRF South Africa. But on a larger scale, I mean, if you look at the UK, if you look at Pakistan, you look at all the other countries in the world, it was almost sort of a copy. And the same thing happened throughout the world, where FGRF took over Dawat Islami Center, and from that center ran an operation. I mean, if you look at in Pakistan, I think they reached, the most rural villages, just with, food hampers, medication, sanitation, just to make sure that, look, COVID is happening and vaccines, people were not sure what's going on with vaccines. But at least let's keep them in the best possible health until the vaccine comes. And Soweto, I think, was the biggest, for us, Molana here heads up our Soweto institution. I think he'll give you a better insight into how Soweto runs.
Alhamdulillah, Maulana.
Just before you go over to Soweto, just in brief, Faizan Global Relief Foundation, once it was established, it concentrates on health, food, education, and disaster and climate relief. So these are the main areas of concern, and there is plans in the future also for rehabilitation centers as well. But let's listen to Maulana Abdul Majid about Soweto.
No problem. Maulana Abdul Majid, Soweto, I mean, we know it's the largest township, not just in Africa, but around the world. We know the history of Soweto, what had happened there. How is Islam growing in Soweto, and the work done by FGRF in making sure that the residents of Soweto are looked after?
Alhamdulillah, FGRF, under the banner of Dawat Islami, has, done a very fantastic work in Soweto. I think the FGRF stepped in at the very right time, when there was a dire need, for people to be helped and for people to be assisted. Look, if we have to take, Soweto on its own, let's speak about the growth of Muslims at that time before we get to the FGRF part of it, right? So at the moment as we speak, in Soweto, from our premises, from Masjid Faizan Abu Attar, we have people that are becoming Muslims on daily basis. Average is about 2 people becoming
Mashallah.
Muslims every day.
MashaAllah.
So when all of this was happening, we sat down and said, look, guys, this is a very big responsibility we're taking. It is more easier to convert people to Islam, but to make sure that they stay as Muslims, they are within the environment of Islam. That is where it gets very, very difficult. That is where we need to man up and make sure that whoever steps in this beautiful religion of Islam is then not gone back to his old beliefs and his previous religion and all of that. So now with the help of FGRF to say, look, you know what, guys, you have people that are now Muslims. I mean, how do we sort their necessities out? So we speak of hampers distribution. We speak of sort of like looking out for the opportunities that would empower our Islamic brothers and sisters that are in Soweto. So Alhamdulillah, ever since the FGRF came under the banner of Islamic Dawat Islami, there is a very huge potential, and then we would like to widen up the work of Deen, obviously with the help of FGRF, to each and every corner of South Africa.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Shad, I want to bring you in South Africa, because we've seen so many incidents that have happened. We saw the riots in 2021. We saw last year, obviously, the floods that had happened in KwaZulu-Natal. Talk to us about how FGRF worked with those communities to try and bring some sort of normality for them.
Alhamdulillah, as we well know, and we experienced, the civil unrest, like you've mentioned, in 2021. We saw a big need that assistance had to be rendered in KwaZulu-Natal. Items were short in KZN province, as you know, the looting took place. So we've arranged as an NGO, as an organization, Faizan Global Relief Foundation, arranged from Johannesburg at least about 5, almost we can say, 22-wheel trucks, what it's a 20-ton trucks. So we arranged for 5 trucks to be sent down to KZN. We sent it to our Phoenix branch, of which from there it was distributed. And without exaggeration, in fact, last week I was sitting in a meeting in KZN, and I mentioned in the meeting that the line of people that were waiting to receive something to eat or some assistance, I said they would about 1 kilometer. And I was corrected that line actually went up to 4 kilometers. So there was videos of it as well. And this was not, Faizan Global Relief Foundation, the motto, the statement is compassion for everyone. So irrespective of race, color, creed, religion, everybody was assisted. If you needed help, you were assisted. So this was the civil unrest where we tried to offer our assistance as far as that was concerned. Then we came to last year, as you mentioned, 2022, which was the KZN floods again. We prepared a team and we went down personally to KZN to assess the situation. We saw there's a need for distribution of food hampers. There's a need of soup kitchens. People were displaced and people were put into makeshift areas, like, maybe community halls, for example. When we got to those community halls, we saw the amount of women and children there. We saw that there's not only a need for food, there's a need for, basic hygiene requirements, especially for Islamic sisters, for ladies. So we tried our level best to assist with that. Then we saw the basic need of water. Water. We tried to get water. Water was even scarce in KZN. And, at that time, it was one night, I think it was raining, and we were distributing water in areas of KZN. And we thought to ourselves that, see, how fortunate are those that when you open your tap and fresh water comes out, you put a glass there, you have a glass of water. And now you're running on the ground, you're meeting people who don't have pure drinking water. So we saw water as a big need. We had a youth team with us, and we did almost, I think, close to about 10 or 15,000 5-liter bottles were distributed of drinking water. We met many elderly along the way. Many people, like, for example, recently we saw what happened in Turkey. And Faizan Global Relief Foundation from day one was on the ground in Turkey as a current situation. They're still on the ground in Turkey. And as you saw the report, a person says that yesterday I was a multimillionaire. Or a person can say yesterday I could give zakat. Today I have to receive zakat. How your condition changes overnight. And it's all about us making a difference. When the earthquake hit in Turkey, we offered our assistance in Turkey. Apart from, we can say so many thousand blankets were given, so many thousand jackets were given, so much food is being distributed on a daily basis. But what are we doing to rebuild their lives and rebuild their homes? Alhamdulillah, we have come up with an idea with our UK Islamic brothers, our FGRF in UK, who came up with an idea of container homes. So it's 2-bedroom, fully fledged dining room, kitchen, lounge, 2-bedroom, shower, toilet, 2-bedroom container home. So that is, empowering the person for the next few years to come, giving him his dignity back.
Brother Shai, we have to stop there. We have to go to a break. Well, we are going to continue this conversation, and I'm going to come to you after the break, Hafiz Haider, to talk about what is being done internationally. Just recently, we saw Cyclone Freddy, but after the break, we will continue the discussion. Do stay tuned to Know Your Charity. My guests today are from Faizani Global Relief Foundation.
لا يعلمها إلا الله لا يعلمها إلا الله.
Welcome back to Know Your Charity. My guests today are from Faizani Global Relief Foundation. Hafiz Haider, I'm going to come to you quickly. Recently, we saw Cyclone Freddy wreaking havoc in Malawi. I've seen pictures, of course, of the work that FGRF has done with the choppers and the work, getting relief to those people. Just give us a brief synopsis of the work done in Malawi immediately after the flood hits.
Okay, for us, this is the second cyclone, second flood that's hit Malawi in not a long space. I think that gives us a good idea of how FGRF has grown in between that window.
Yes.
So the first floods heavy, originally in 2022 or earlier, they hit Malawi. And our guys on the ground there were busy hiring warehouses and, looking for a space, to work out of, establishing themselves on the ground. In that year space, when the next, in that original space, they in the original cyclone, they helped about 300,000 people, food, clothing, shelter, mosquito nets, whatever.
Not 300,000 people, 300,000 families.
300,000 families, right? So, and in that space, the foundation has grown so much in it 2 years ago that now people are giving them warehouses like, here's a warehouse, use the warehouse, help the people. The United Nations has reached out now to Faizan Global Relief Foundation in Malawi for assistance and have offered things like choppers and, whatever they can from their side. Because the network of FGRF has grown so quickly and so fast in Malawi that I think that 300,000 families is almost doubled now in Cyclone Freddy. But there's a distinctive thing about FGRF, because, at the bare bone of things, charities do the same thing. They collect from the rich and they give to the poor. That's what charities do. What stands out for us and for me, and I think we've all made this point when, we're working on FGRF strategy, is that it's easy for me to take out 100 rand and give it to a poor man. He'll go and buy some food. He'll sleep warm and full for that night. But how do I change his life? What do I give him so tomorrow he is giving a third person 100 rand? So I think that's, a very important, it's something we all pride ourselves on, the three of us here especially, is that we've got to look at a bigger picture. So, Shahid was talking about container homes in Turkey. Turkey is not the first time FGRF has done homes. In Malawi, everyone, the main approach is let's feed people, and that's meritorious. But FGRF 3 or 4 years ago came out with a build a hut campaign. It works in the climate, it works for the people, it works part of the culture and tradition, and it's cost effective. FGRF was raising money back then, 5 years ago, to build huts in Malawi so people have basic shelter. So I think that's a key, important factor, which I think we always try to remind ourselves of. And also, if anyone out there is willing to work with us or wishing to work with us, if you have any way you think you can uplift the community. I got a call 2 days ago from an ex-teacher who wants to do adult classes. Why? Because, I can give my money to you, but then I don't know, I want to uplift, I want a person to live there with skills. So I think it's important that, your viewers know that the floor is open. If we have any people out there who want to uplift communities, please feel free to reach out to Faraz or any one of us here and come forward with your ideas so that tomorrow the communities we help today are helping a third community.
Alhamdulillah. Mulana Abdul Majid, I know a lot of your da'wah work happens Soweto and various other townships. These are townships that till today still suffer from the effects of apartheid, and we know what apartheid did to many of the townships. From a Dini point of view, from an upliftment point of view, how do you maintain that? How do you take the boy that was on the streets doing drugs and bring him to Islam and show him that there's a better tomorrow?
Alhamdulillah, you see, the approach that we use or utilize in order to win the hearts of the locals, and especially those who are coming back from that background where they were affected by the apartheid regime and all of that, is that we show them love first.
Alhamdulillah.
The moment you begin to show a person love, it becomes easier to work with him. It becomes easier for you to penetrate in his heart. And then because of this, the likes of Brother Shahid and Brother Hilaal, they can walk anywhere in Soweto, and then they can just easily do the work of Deen there. And then this wasn't a case before when people thought, look, what, you're going into the township, you perhaps you're in India and it's going to become difficult and all of that. But we found a very suitable medium that has simplified things for us, and that is you begin to love them first, because love speaks every language. So the moment you get to a person through love, he'll be able to understand you from any other angle, and for any other thing you'd want to put forward to him. So I think this is the core main idea that has resulted in our success in Soweto. So now that barrier has now been broken in Soweto. And then to put actually things into more perspective is that, in Soweto we have a team, right? We have a team of Muballighs. Muballighs are those who are special, that have been trained specially to do the work of Deen. We can call them preachers. So what they actually do is they go door to door, house to house, and then parks, and then malls, and then they go with their boards and marking pens. They promote and they propagate this beautiful deen of Allah. And for your information, every day, they come, alhamdulillah, with a person that would have, if not accepted Islam, that would have showed so much of interest into the religion of Islam. And then when we do follow-ups after that, to your surprise, we get even a family that, would come into this beautiful deen of Al-Islam. And then just quickly to touch on something very important. Now, the teaching part of it, I mean, you're making people Muslims. I mean, many a times we know that people become Muslims, and if there isn't a proper follow-up that has been done, they go back to their old ways and all that. So now what we have done is, the moment a person becomes a Muslim, we create a file for him. We take his details, and then minimum twice a week, that person is being phoned, is being visited personally to remind him of his new identity of now being a Muslim, in order to make sure that he remains or he stays in the environment of Islam. In our masjid, on daily basis, we have a feeding scheme. And then we have over 100 children that are coming to study the deed of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, which is Al-Islam. We're talking of people that perhaps never even dreamt of Islam. And the beauty part of this is that the amount of education that they get in from our center is such that these children then go back home after madrasa, and then they give this message of Islam to their own parents. And the parents are beginning to accept Islam because of the effort of their own children.
Time is against us, but I'm going to just ask for each and one of you just a closing 2 minutes. Let's start with you, Maulana Abdul Majid. If anyone wants to reach out, especially within the African townships, which masajids do they visit to try and learn more about the beautiful deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Alhamdulillah, if anyone is willing to reach us, especially in Soweto, my telephone numbers are available, and Shahid Bai's telephone numbers are available. And
there is a website, am I right?
There is a website that can be visited. Okay. And in that website, you can also just look at the activities of Soweto, and it becomes easier to reach us, from that angle also.
No, Alhamdulillah, Brother Haider, Hafiz, to you, to reach out, especially helping the international community. As we know, climate change is happening. We know the various disasters happening, various unrest that are happening. How can the viewers, how can the public help contribute?
I think for us, it's very simple. Like Maulana is saying, get in contact through the website, through social media. FGRF Africa is on all major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Climate change, like you said, is a big one. We're big into the tree plantation campaign. So even if you don't want to get your hands dirty or you don't want to get too involved, it's as simple as getting in touch with anyone. Go buy a tree at a nursery and come and drop it off in one of our centers. We'll ensure it's planted and help climate change.
Alhamdulillah. One final for you, Brother Shahid, the future for Faizani Global Relief Foundation, and going forward, especially now during Ramadan, what is being done and post Ramadan?
Just to add very quickly, I know we're coming into closing time. They've mentioned the tree plantation campaign, which we have declared Tree Plantation Day as an organization on the 21st of March. To date, 2.7 million trees have been planted for forestation campaigns. Future plans, what's it looking like? Alhamdulillah, good news. As they mentioned, Soweto. The work in Soweto has grown at such a phenomenal pace that we had to look for much larger land than the one we're currently using. Alhamdulillah, through the grace and mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, we were able to find a 6,500 square meter land. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, we have purchased that land. That land is now registered to us, and we wish to build a beautiful community center there. We want to have an FGRF clinic which will service the community, inshallah Azza wa Jal, with the help of our Muslim public at no charge. So we're looking at a 15 to 20 million rand project. If you want to know about the future of what we have in plan, inshallah Azza wa Jal. The property is a beautiful piece of land. It's such a slant that when you stand at Chris Hani Baragwana, the main road where the hospital is, everybody knows Bara Hospital, and you look up the hill, you'll be able to see that this is a beautiful Islamic center. So inshallah Azza wa Jal, like Hafiz Aidar has said, that you can go to the social media pages, and I'm sure you will share something for us on screen as well. And inshallah, Zawjal, those who want to get in touch with us, we have branches in Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria, all the major cities. And inshallah, Zawjal, with your kind help, we will grow this Islamic center, and inshallah, Zawjal, work will grow not only in Soweto, but in every African community.
Ameen.
Like Mulana Abdul Majid said very beautifully, love them, make them love you. So it's actually fall in love with them, make them fall in love with you, then work with them. Inshallah.
Ameen. And we do this for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul Pak sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Mulana Abdul Majid, Hafiz Haider Khan, Brother Shaikh Karra, we'd like to say Jazakallah so much for making the time and joining us here on Know Your Charity on Hilaal TV. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all three of you barakah, good health and strength to continue the fantastic work that you are doing across various communities, not only in South Africa, but in Africa and across the globe. And that is all we have for you here on Know Your Charity. Today I hosted Faizan Global Relief Foundation. For myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team here at Hilaal TV. Do stay tuned for more Ramadan content. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
هل لك سر عند الله بينك أنت وبين الله هل لك صدقات تخفى لا يعلمها إلا الله هل لك سر عند الله بينك أنت وبين الله هل لك صدقات تخفى لا يعلمها إلا الله